I remember the first basketball game I ever saw. My parents had taken me to see the Harlem Globetrotters. I was probably 5, and it made me fall in love with basketball. It was a sport unlike I'd ever seen. There were guys spinning basketballs, cracking jokes, and a trampoline came out at one point, I'm pretty sure. At a young age, it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen a man do with balls. You can imagine my disappointment when I see a basketball game on TV, only to learn that what I saw that night was not actually how basketball is played. That's why I'm here to expose maybe the biggest scandal in sports. They lied to me. They made me believe in their authenticity. I know this might be hard to believe, but the evidence I've compiled is overwhelming. The Harlem Globetrotters are cheaters, liars, and frauds. If you need a refresher on who these guys are, they're the winningest team in sports, reportedly having a record with over 27,000 wins and 345 losses. That means they're winning roughly 98% of their games. That's better than the All Blacks, the Yankees, the Brazilian national team, and none of them are really that close either. They were in the Adam Sandler movie Little Nicky, on Gilligan's Island. In the 70s, they had their own animated series, appeared on Scooby-Doo, and as a more modern reference, they were on Futurama. Globetrotter members have been on The Amazing Race, American Ninja Warrior, and much more. Honorary Globetrotters include Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Nelson Mandela, and Jesse Jackson, and Pope Francis. I'd love to see him going coast to coast, hitting circus shots. He could spin the ball in his Pope hat or something. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about my favorite honorary Globetrotter, Bill Cosby. I know there's a basketball joke to be made there, but it's already funny as is. With all that out of the way, it's time to talk about the decades of cheating that have been going on, and the first thing we need to do is talk about the league, if you could really call it that. This was my first clue that something was wrong. Wikipedia says they play in the Black Diamond League, which I was unable to find any additional information on. However, they and their main rivals, the Washington Generals, are owned by Hershon Family Entertainment, who owns multiple amusement parks and attractions, but also the Globetrotters. And maybe important, maybe irrelevant, even though the Generals are confirmed to be owned by them, they're not listed on their website. Speaking of the Generals, the team has gone by many different names in the past, but usually consists of the same players and always loses to the Globetrotters. The whole thing seems a little fishy. So at this point you might be thinking, okay, so the Generals are throwing the games. But no, that can't be. They answer this question directly on the Globetrotter official website, stating they are real basketball games. The Harlem Globetrotters and their opponents both play to win. In fact, in 2017, the Generals were reintroduced after a brief hiatus and supposedly came to win.
This is not the same General teams. We're coming for them. This is not the same General team.
They even played in the 2017 basketball tournament put on by ESPN, where they lost in the first round, continuing their decades-long tradition. However, perhaps the best source on the matter is former player, coach, and at one point owner of the Generals, Red Klotz. Once during an interview, he had this to say about his team.
We are the best in the country competitively. We could stand up playing anybody in the country play basketball. And as far as opposing the Globetrotters when it comes to the showtime, we're the greatest supporting cast you can ever find anywhere. People don't realize how serious I am about good basketball against the Harlem Globetrotters. They think it's all show, but it's not all show. I insist we play good basketball. We make the Harlem Globetrotters play their very best. I realize that the Globetrotters are famous for what they're doing, but that doesn't mean we allow them to do it. We try to get them. We try to play good ball. And I tell them point blank, you're not acting your part.
Like me, I'm sure you picked up on a few things he said.
Showtime, supporting cast, you're not acting your part.
If the team was that serious about winning, you'd expect that during the game, the Generals coach wouldn't act like this.
What's going on out there? I can't believe it.
but maybe more like this.
He's spinning the ball on his finger! Just take it! Take the ball!
To add to my point, I introduced to you director Tony Verna.
Yeah, I had done the Globetrotters, and I think I helped them with their ratings a bit. So I to a guy named Jack Doff, great guy.
I'm sorry, a guy named what?
Jack Doff. I got a hold of Soupy and got him to do it. And the thing was that my shtick was that this comedian, Soupy, would be the manager of the Globetrotters, and I could do all my gags.
If you're not sold yet, ask yourself why the Globetrotters need a television director to help them with their ratings. They're a fucking basketball team. Not Hollywood celebrities, not TV show hosts. They're a fucking basketball team. So while there may be some degree of controlled opposition, I'm afraid there's still more to this story. While we're on the topic of losing, the Globetrotters aren't perfect. I was able to find a partial list of about 100 of their losses, and their kryptonite seems to be college kids. You'll notice on this list some of the losses are in the early 2000s, but almost all of these are from the 50s and 60s. Losing after the development of their signature style sometime in the 50s might be rare, but when they're not playing in their league, the signature style goes away, because normal leagues won't let them get away with what they do in the Diamond League. It's crazy, almost like when they have to follow the rules, they play as well as any other basketball team. And I get it, traveling never gets called, teams will bend the rules, everyone's trying to get an upper hand, and sometimes you get caught. The difference here is that it's incredibly in the open, and everyone just seems cool with it, even the owners. And I've used the C word a lot in this video so far, so let's get to some examples. Okay, so the game official literally got caught wearing a Generals jersey during the game. First, let's mention the fact that there's only one official during this entire game. That alone does not seem fully fair. Perhaps he's taken bribes in the past. Perhaps the Generals are in on it and are paying him. There are multiple questions to be asked as to whether this official is legitimately trying to help the Generals, and should he be barred from the league entirely. It's also strange how no league officials come out to address this issue, and the Globetrotters instead take care of it themselves. Let's see how they handle it.
I cannot believe what I'm saying right now. We should kick him out. Isn't that right? We will let you stay. But if you make another bad call for the Generals, the fans here and our here will kick you out.
So they just fucking bribed him and threatened him to call the game in their favor. So how does that make it okay? And how can the Globetrotters blatantly in front of thousands of people tell the referee that they will let him stay as long as he calls the game in their favor? Okay, let's take a look at our next clip. Do I even need to say anything about this one? This would get you suspended in the NBA. But with the Globetrotters, assaulting your opponent is just part of the game. Sounds crazy, but you'll probably agree with me after this next clip. He literally just killed him. He fucking killed him. A Washington general died in the line of duty, and number 42 disrespectfully steps over his victim with no concern. This to me confirms that the Globetrotters are aware they can do anything they want and get away with it. And it's turned them into entitled winners with no respect for their opponents or the game. I'm passionate about justice. I'm passionate about basketball. After doing this investigation, I had a fire in me that led me to sending an email to Herschel and Family Entertainment regarding what I've reviewed in this video. I don't want to fight this fight, but this is God's will. If you feel like I do, I encourage you to reach out to them as well. Find a way to make a difference. Let the league know that we won't have this level of cheating in our sports. Go to a Globetrotter game and call them out in front of everyone. If you're as passionate about sports as I am, I know you'll do the right thing and help me get the word out about the most egregious sports scandal in our lifetime. Even just sharing this video with one person can make all the difference. Who knows, you might even get a response from someone. Together, we can make a difference and bring back legitimacy to the Harlem Globetrotters.